RTT Lamborghini.
What's up? What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the first podcast of Real Talk Today. I'm your host, Jared Rosenthal, and today we are missing Ben Steinberg. Gosh darn it. But hey, that's okay because we have a special guest star today in the building. The three Chalk Talks of the day will be NBA free agency and the NBA draft, the best college basketball teams of all time, and athletes rocking sick outfits. And so, like I said, today we've brought a special guest in the building. His name is Jonathan Lidskin, everyone, My Sports Talk. He's a true supporter and a great helper in this production of the show, and we really appreciate him. And so here he is to discuss our Chalk Talks today. And Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you stand in NBA free agency, the draft, and let's just start off.
All right, well, like you said, Jared, I'm the owner of My Sports Talk, which our website, if you guys don't know, is www.mysportstalk.weebly.com. Check it out. Some interesting articles on there. So I have 4 big NBA free agents coming up in this offseason, in which I think could be the biggest free agency I've ever seen in the NBA.
Okay, let's hear it.
I want to start with the guy who has been in the news a lot recently for the NBA, and it's not LeBron James, it's actually Kawhi Leonard. There has been this whole thing about Kawhi Leonard demanding a trade or saying he wants to leave San Antonio. Now, the Spurs have came out, and I don't know whether this was intentionally or unintentionally said, but they have said they don't want to trade Kawhi Leonard to a Western Conference team so that he plays against them next year.
I mean, that's just, if he gets traded to another Western Conference team, it's just going to be tough for the Spurs to get to the finals.
Yeah.
It's already tough because they're aging.
For sure. And the 2 teams that have come out as like contenders to sign him are the Celtics and the Lakers. Now, the Celtics and Lakers go back a long way with their rivalry when Kevin Garnett was in Boston and Kobe was in LA. But now these 2 teams could be the future of the NBA once again.
I agree.
Have young guys in LA. You have a team in Boston that has proven themselves. Took the Cavs to 7 games with no Kyrie Irving or Gordon Hayward. And personally, I think that Kawhi Leonard will go to the Celtics. I think the Spurs are going to stick to their word, not trade him to a Western Conference team, making the Lakers. And I think that the Celtics have more to offer. They have...
Well, they are young. They are a very young team, and they have a lot of raw talent out there. You saw Jaylen Brown played very well this last year in the playoffs. Jason Tatum was a star out there. And if Kyrie Irving comes back 100% and Gordon Hayward does his job, I think they can win a championship.
Yeah, the Celtics have been set up for years for this trade. If you guys remember back, like probably 5 or 6 years ago now, the Celtics made a deal that sent Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to the Nets, and the Nets thought this was going to be the future of their franchise. It was clearly not. That plan went off the rails.
That's for sure.
And now the Celtics have been left with Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, these young guys to go along with their superstars, and frankly, they have draft picks coming up too that they can deal.
Right.
So I think what you're going to end up seeing is you're going to see Leonard dealt to the Celtics for a package that'll contain something around Terry Rozier. Jaylen Brown will probably be in there, and one or two first round draft picks, because they have obviously the Nets draft picks are going to be high.
Oh, for sure.
they're gonna get good ones from that deal.
I think though, if LeBron, let's talk about LeBron now. If he leaves the Eastern Conference, I think that just makes it 10 times easier for the Celtics to get to the finals.
Oh, for sure.
But I think if he stays in the East, I think it'll still be hard for him to even get there.
Yes.
I think it'll be hard regardless where he goes, and I think it'll be hard for any team that has to play against him.
You could see potentially next year if LeBron stays in the East and goes to Philly. You could potentially see Philly, the Celtics, and possibly the Wizards and Raptors all competing for an Eastern Conference championship, depending on where DeMarcus Cousins ends up. There's a lot of speculation that he could go to Washington and team up with John Wall and Bradley Beal.
DeMarcus Cousins, he's a huge component. Let's not forget about him. But, Liddy, where do you think LeBron's really going to go?
I personally think he's going to Philadelphia. I don't
know.
There's this whole deal about the Lakers, and the Lakers are going to get somebody, whether it be LeBron, Leonard, or Paul George. But I can't see LeBron sitting there and thinking that just to get to the finals, he's going to have to get through the Warriors and the Rockets for that matter.
You know, I gotta fight you on this one, okay? Because I'm gonna stick to my gut. As in the last episode we produced, I say LeBron goes to the Lakers, and that's for sure. I think. Let's start out. He has multiple houses in Los Angeles. We were just told that LeBron James Jr., 13 years old, is attending Sierra Canyon, which is a school located in Chatsworth, California, which is a 45-minute drive from the Staples Center. Fun fact: it is located close to my grandma's old house. He likes the Hollywood scene. We saw in 2015 he was in the movie Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. And obviously we have the weather out there in LA. I mean, It's hot every day. You want to be in Cleveland where it's cold and there's factories and it's just a totally dirty scene. And I mean, let's also take into consideration the business aspect to the Lakers. We know they have iffy deals with Julius Randle, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Brooke Lopez. But don't kid yourself. The Lakers have a smart front office. They have one of the best basketball players of all time in terms of IQ and everything, Magic Johnson. He has so much knowledge. He's been around the league for so long. He knows what he's doing. And I think this brings us to how the Lakers could acquire Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Chris Paul. Maybe not all three of them with LeBron, but maybe one to two more of one of those guys. Do you think you could see that in the future?
I mean, you make a very fair point about, especially with LeBron's kid, because after the finals, LeBron kind of hinted in a post-game interview that, like, his kids are older now, and they have, assume, a lot of friends. And
right.
I don't know if LeBron would want to leave Cleveland, but you do make a very fair point about Sierra Canyon especially.
Right.
Sierra Canyon is a high school that's produced a lot of big basketball talent, the most recent being Marvin Bagley,
right,
who may get selected in the top 3 of the NBA draft this Thursday.
Right,
and
that's for sure.
LeBron's kid's already being highly recruited, and it would be a great high school for him to go to.
Well, right. Well, also, you have to realize, I don't know if his other kids will follow in those footsteps, but LeBron James Jr. is 13 years old, and this school is for ages from pre-K to 12th. So I don't know if the other kids are going to follow, but I know just by having one kid at that school can influence the rest of the family to want to go out there.
Oh, for sure. What I think for LeBron, it's going to come down to whether he wants to make this about himself or about his family first.
Right.
Because obviously family, he's going to go to the Lakers. That benefits him. But then there's the component that he said that he's tired of playing on ball with the Cavs. He wants to play off ball. And the 76ers have guys like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid that would allow him to play off ball.
They would allow him, but I think that by LeBron going to the Western Conference, we understand that he has a 3-6 finals record, right? He's 3-5 in the last 8 that he's been to, the last 8 in a row. But if he gets to the Western Conference, plays for the Lakers, and he can win another 3, let's say, that makes him 50%, because now you're 6 for 12, right? And we get into the GOAT conversation with Michael Jordan. And by the end of LeBron's career, he's going to surpass him in every stat possible. So by tying him in championship wins, 6, I think LeBron is the best player ever if he can tie his losses.
Oh, for sure. I would definitely agree with you on that. Even if LeBron lives 1 or 2 more, he should be considered the GOAT. I personally think right now Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time.
I think right now MJ is the GOAT.
The numbers, and if he gets the championships, the numbers point to him passing Michael Jordan as the GOAT. Of
course. Because also, you can make the argument how MJ was maybe a quitter because he left for a few years. And also how LeBron, as he ages, he just has been getting better. Like, when MJ was on the Wizards, he wasn't nearly as good as how LeBron is right now. I mean, totally different.
For sure. But he's shown no signs of slowing down. He's playing more minutes than anyone in the NBA right now. And the most minutes of his career. And you could argue that his last postseason, even though they got swept by the Warriors, was his greatest postseason of all time, statistically and just by the eye test.
For sure. And I think he easily could have won 2 of those games. Who knows what could have happened if a few calls went their way. We can't blame it on the refs, of course, but you have to figure that he probably could have won 1 to 2 of those games. But let me continue on with the Western Conference, because we understand how tough of a conference that is. And I think it would show LeBron's versatility of being able to get to the finals in both conferences as opposed to just the Eastern Conference, because everyone's like, oh, yeah, LeBron plays the easiest teams, blah, blah, blah. But if he goes to the West, he's got to face potentially the Warriors, the Spurs, who they're kind of on the decline, but they're still not terrible. You also have the Rockets, who they're a tough competitor.
Upcoming Jazz team.
Jazz. I mean, and I also think, I know I'm saying that the West is very strong, but the East is actually developing a little bit too, I think. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Philly is a very good option for him.
Yeah, how I think of it is I think the West is an established conference right now with its players, and the East has younger guys that are developing into superstars like Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum.
Right.
Those guys are in the East.
They're in the East. Well, I think this is going to bring us to Chalk Talk number 2, which is the best college basketball team of all time. And so, Liddy, would you like to start us off with this one?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet. I
was doing a little research on this morning, and you can't really find anything to prove that the UCLA team in 1966-67, Kareem, isn't the greatest team of all time. I mean, the NCAA actually had to make a rule that Kareem couldn't, the no dunk rule.
No dunk rule.
Because Kareem was so dominant of a player. I mean, that team beat Dayton in the national championship by 15. It wasn't even close.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of teams that you can point out and say, oh, this team could compete with UCLA.
I don't know. You want me to tell you my best team of all time?
Sure.
I think a lot of you, if you know me, you know what I'm going to say. This is my favorite topic of all time. It's the Badger basketball team of 2015. Unfortunately, they lost to Duke in the championship, which was very upsetting. I was at that game with Reed Milkins, Noah Jacobs, and a kid named Emmett Bloom, who goes to New Trier now. It was very exciting, but hey, anyway, let me just go into this. I have a comparison for all of you out there, and I always do. This Badger basketball team, the program, is similar to Daniel LaRusso's story in Karate Kid. He started from the bottom. He would get his butt kicked every day by John Lawrence, okay? And the rest of Cobra Kai, which resembles how their records weren't really good from the mid to early 90s. In fact, they were 13-14 in their 1994-95 season. And in the end, so now over the past 20 years, they become a fierce competitor. And in the end, Daniel is a fierce competitor. He's able to kick butt out there. And so, hey, they had a 36-4 overall record. They won the Big Ten tournament and won the conference title. They were a solid team, I gotta say. I mean, you gotta like them, Liddy, right?
They were a really good team. Unfortunately for Jared, I am a big Duke basketball fan. I know a lot of you people out there might hate me now because of that. But
They win too much. They do
win a lot. And bringing it to Duke, one of the other greatest teams of all time, I think, are the Duke teams that won 2 national championships back-to-back, actually, in 91 and 92. That team had guys like Christian Laettner, Bobby Curley, Grant Hill. Christian Laettner might be the most hated college basketball team of all time. The most hated college basketball player of all time.
For sure. Him or Grayson Allen. He's following in the footsteps right there.
It's a Duke thing. Yeah. You see that trend with Duke, that there's a player every year on Duke that people just love to hate. This year it was Grayson.
Well, when you're tripping guys left and right, it's not really fair.
Yeah.
You're not playing by the rules. It's a foul.
A couple years ago it was John Shire and Gerald Henderson. And Henderson obviously gave Tyler Zeller that bloody nose in the Duke UNC rivalry game.
Ooh. Well, hey, let's shout out your boy John Shire, GBN alum, one of the greatest of all time at Glenbrook North High School.
Now an assistant coach at Duke.
And hey, maybe he'll be a head coach one day. We'll see.
Hopefully.
But here, let me continue with this Badger team, okay? Because I haven't even gotten to the crux of this team, okay? So we have, our starting lineup is Frank Kaminsky, Sam Decker, Nigel Hayes, Bronson Koenig, and Josh Gosser. So everyone knew Frank Kaminsky. He was the player of the year in his last year. His first 2 years, he was very iffy. But over time, he improved, and I think this is all the coaching at Wisconsin because they developed their players really well, as you see. Like Ethan Happ now, he was not great in his first year or two, but he's progressed over the years, and he's gotten better. Also, let's talk about Sam Decker. He was just clutch in March Madness. Yeah, I mean, he had daggers versus Arizona, Kentucky. He was always there, and he was just really fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I loved every time I turned on a Wisconsin game, I was just waiting for Sam Decker to throw down a dunk.
Sam Decker. Slammy D.
It looked like he was like a younger version of Russell Westbrook, except like not as fast.
Yes.
But the way he threw it down really hard was exciting.
And he could shoot the ball too.
Yeah, he could.
I know during the championship he couldn't shoot a 3-pointer for his life, but hey, he had a great season and a great career at Wisconsin. But this brings me to Nigel Hayes, the next guy. I mean, in his last few years at Wisconsin, he didn't perform as well as he probably could have. His best year was probably the year they lost in the championship. But he was a pretty good defender. He couldn't really shoot the ball that well, but he had a baseline game and he could bring the ball in a little bit. And also Bronson Koenig. So Trayvon Jackson got hurt.
Yeah, I was about to say. People forget that he got hurt and he was supposed to be a top 5 candidate for National Player of the Year that year.
Right, and he got hurt, but hey, when he came back, he didn't really play as well.
No.
And I think Bronson filled his role very well throughout the whole season, for most of it at least. And he was actually on the team for a while, and he was clutchy. He hit that shot against Xavier in the corner, if you remember that. It's good! And then Josh Gossard, he arguably the best defender at Wisconsin of all time. And he was a true Badger. I mean, he was a redshirt and a talented player, and I think he's playing overseas now. He was great. And hey, let's talk about the team accomplishments. Actually, they were top 15 in free throw percentage, 7th in points per game, and they were the most offensive efficient team in the Big Ten. And this just goes to show how Bo Ryan, one of the greatest coaches of all time, I would say. He got their players in shape during the offseason, and throughout the season he just worked them. I know you know D.A. Dukin, right?
Yeah, Deerfield.
Man. What did you think about him when he was at Wisconsin?
He gave them solid minutes off the bench. People forget that team was good. Starting 5, bench. That team was complete.
Team was.
What people also forget is that team beat a Kentucky team who was, what, 35, 36-0?
They were 38 and done. 38-1, everyone.
That was a Kentucky team with, like, NBA superstars right now.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns. Devin Booker came off their bench.
Yeah, off their bench. Oh. I mean, and you had Willie Cauley-Stein, who was very good.
The Harrison twins, Tyler Ulis.
I mean, the roster was stacked, and that just goes to show how, like I said, the coaching. I mean, these players were ready for the game. I mean, they lost the year before on that crazy Harrison shot, and they came back. It's a great story. I mean, I really wish they won. It keeps me up at night all the time.
That Kentucky team had, I think, 8 or 9 guys go pro that year.
Yeah.
So
and Wisconsin
you're talking about guys who get 5 or 6 minutes a game on normal teams when you're the 9th guy off the bench, and that guy's going in the 2nd round of the NBA draft.
Ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, last 2 guys I have to mention with this, Zach Showalter. He always showed his heart and passion. And Vito Brown, he actually sang the national anthem in the Final Four. Which is,
seriously?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was pretty talented all around the board, I gotta say. But Liddy, you got anything else to add with this college basketball topic? Chalk talk.
Well, just going college basketball in general. I love college basketball. It's my favorite sport to watch. Don't get me wrong. But the system is flawed for college basketball with the NCAA tournament. You see teams like UNLV in 1991 would have been arguably the greatest team of all time. And I looked at their schedule. They had 1 game in single digits the whole year. They killed everyone. This was a team led by future NBA star Larry Johnson, and they lost to Duke in the Final Four. They played bad one game against the good Duke team, and that was their season. It was it.
But I think just having this March Madness set up, it causes parity. You know, you never know who's gonna win. I mean, there's always, you're gonna have a 1 seed always every year in the Final Four. You're gonna have a 5 through 8 seed, one of those weird teams, and then you might have you have 2 other teams that are between a 2 and a 5. Usually. And sometimes you have another 1, instead of the 2 and the 5. But it's kind of a weird mix,
Yeah. The NCAA won't do anything about it because it's such a big thing for fans. They get so much viewership on it. I mean, I remember at school I would go to watch games and I'd have to find some weird website to watch it on because everyone on NCAA.com would be watching the game and you couldn't get on.
You couldn't get on. But hey, I also, last thing with college basketball, I just wish that the players would stay longer than a year. I think there should be a minimum 3 years. 3-year minimum.
That's how they do it in college football, unless, of course, you redshirt your first year, and then you have to play 2.
Because then you get to know these players over time. You actually see who they are. You see them progress, and they're actually probably getting better. I mean, I know they get better by playing against better competition, but by keeping them back in school, if they happen to fall out, right, they have something to back up on if they graduate. So,
yeah,
food for thought.
Adam Silver came out and said that you could see changes for for the college system and how long players have to stay in the next couple years down the road. But, I mean, right now, I don't like the way Duke recruits, being a Duke fan.
Yeah.
I think that the Coach K doesn't get to know their players as well as he would like to. And, frankly, guys who only play together for 1 year, it's hard to put together a team that can win a national championship playing with each other for 1 year.
Right, and you saw the year that the Badgers lost, they played a team of all freshmen. But hey, you have to remember, these guys were like all McDonald's All-Americans.
Yeah.
They recruit those guys because Duke has that big name, and they have Coach K, and it's Duke, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Duke's coming in this year as one of the clear favorites to win the national championship, having the best recruiting class. They have the top 3 players in the country. Who knows if that's going to work out? Who knows if those kids will be able to play together?
Right. So I think this brings us to our last Chalk Talk number 3, athletes rocking sick outfits. So let's start off with Buster Posey. He was on GQ magazine, which is one of the top fashion magazines out there. He's just dressed in a nice Banana Republic jacket. He's got a cool hat on, just very casual. And he's just looking pretty chill out there, hitting a baseball off the tee. Lydia, I know you used to play baseball.
Yeah.
Do you remember hitting in the cages?
I mean, I have a batting cage in my backyard, but I would go out there with a t-shirt, shorts, and gym shoes on.
Not like this. But hey, next one, we have Odell Beckham Jr. rocking a sick Bape jacket with his friend over there to the left. And he's got some cool Jordan 4s on. Bape, pretty expensive brand. I don't know if you guys know, but if you're a hypebeast, you would know. Liddy, you a fan of Bape or not really sure? So whatever. I don't know. It's very expensive. It's a Japanese brand. It's cool. But yeah, next, LeBron. I know we were talking earlier about how he's interesting, what he wears, Tell us a little bit about the suit dilemma.
Well, I don't have the exact statistic, but I remember around like the time when the NBA Finals was about to start this year, that I saw a stat on Instagram that like the Cavs were like not winning them when LeBron was like wearing a suit and like shorts to the game, but like when he was wearing something else, then
that's such a typical ESPN stat.
But I mean, it got people's attention.
It did. I mean, but here, if we take a closer look at this picture, LeBron's wearing his Long Live the King Kith LeBron shoes over here, but I don't really know what he's doing exactly. It's kind of a cool pattern he's got there.
Yeah,
with the roses and stuff. Here we've got Cristiano Ronaldo, soccer player. He's always swagging out. Debatably the best soccer player in the world, I guess. And he was wearing a cool pair of Nike Air Forces. These athletes, I mean, they have the money. They can afford whatever, basically.
Yeah, with endorsements. And it's not even just their like, contracts that they get. They get, like, all the commercials that these guys do, the shoe deals. It's unreal.
Shoe deals are ridiculous. Like, LeBron, he basically has, like, a lifelong deal with Nike where he can just call them up and say, hey, give me a pair of these Nike whatevers, and you, boom, in the mail next day.
Yeah, I mean, people always tell me that, like, athletes are, like, living the dream, which they might be with all the money they have, and they get to play the sport they love. I mean,
and they get to travel around the country.
We forget that, like, this is their job. They don't, like, do this just for giggles. For giggles. I mean, they do this to make money. They do this to support their family. Right.
So I guess it makes sense. And then last, Jordan Clarkson rocking a cool Supreme jacket, blue jacket over here, with a Como des Garçons collab with Supreme shirt or sweatshirt. I can't really tell because his jacket's covering it.
Yeah. Russ always has some interesting stuff on.
Him too, yeah. I like him. He did not make it to this Real Talk Today episode, but in the future he will. But I think that just about wraps it up. So, guys, let's just do a little recap about what we talked about today. So we talked about how Wisconsin of 2015 is the best college basketball team to ever play. And we talked about how LeBron's going to go to the Lakers. And we told you that there are some cool athletes out there wearing some awesome outfits.
Yeah,
you approve, Liddy?
If you guys heard that summary, you might want to, and you believe it, you might want to go back and listen to the podcast again. Yeah, I guarantee you there were some other opinions thrown around.
Maybe. But thank you guys for tuning in to the inaugural podcast for Real Talk Today. And do not forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and happy summer.